name's Tim Tobin. I have a farm in Woodford, Virginia. My wife and I operate this family farm. We began the farm and selling direct to consumer in 2014. So we're trying to move along as quickly as we can on the development of our product lines and improving our soil. Our farm is a 142 acre farm that is now broken up into about 100 acres of 11 different permanent paddocks with 28 watering points. We worked with the Soil and Water Conservation District to implement a rotational grazing program and at the same time excluded livestock from the waterways. This photo just shows you kind of how we're set up, and it really works quite well for us. My discussion's a little different than the other producers that you've heard from. I'm going to talk a little bit about our strategy with regard to selling naturally raised grass finished beef. We sell direct to consumer, and I agree with Tim Beam, who said small farms would have a lot of difficulty surviving if you had to sell at wholesale. We're very fortunate. Our strategic advantage is that we're located accessibly between Northern Virginia and Richmond. So we're about 10 minutes from I-95 to the east. We've got a lot of sandy soil, a little bit of clay in some places. This farm had been row crop for quite a long time, and the soils were fairly depleted. So we've been working hard to improve the quality of our soil. Our primary objective is to maximize our forage production. We can only carry as many animals on our farm as we have forages to support them. So we've been gradually renovating our perennial pastures. We've been putting in Max Q with alfalfa and orchard grass. We've been overseeding clover and brassicas throughout our farm. We generally do a frost seeding on just about all of our 100 acres every year to continue to encourage that nitrogen fixation. We do double crop seasonal annuals. We've been doing about 30 to 35% of our farm in seasonal annuals. And those have been a big benefit for us. Aside from the cost, it is costly to do, but it creates some really good forage for our animals. We're also in the process of establishing native warm season grasses. This year was the first year grazing Eastern Gamma grass, and that has been a really nice thing because here east of 95, when it gets hot and dry, all of our cool season perennial pasture just stops growing. We do daily moves. We do daily moves pretty much throughout the year until our forages are gone, and then we move the cattle to a sacrifice paddock. I think one of my challenges is managing livestock to the available forage. I think we're a bit overstocked at the moment, so we're working on trying to figure out where the right stocking level is. And of course, maximizing livestock production, not just grass-finished beef, but we also sell pork, lamb, goat, eggs, and honey through our on-farm store. Current livestock, just to give you an idea of what we produce, we have about 75 beef on our farm at the moment. That is 3 different levels of cattle. We have the mamas, the babies, and the finishers. So every year, if you start with 20 mama cows, if you're doing a good job, you have 19 or 20 babies, and those 19 or 20 babies grow for the next year. We don't sell anything, we don't butcher anything less than about 20 months old. So you're carrying them through roughly 2 winters. We also added sheep a couple of years ago and goats. The goats didn't go so well. They seem to enjoy the neighbors' sprinklered lawns better than they enjoy our pastures. So we got rid of the goats, and we're going to increase our sheep to account for that. So with 26 ewes, we can look at anywhere from 30 to 40 finished lambs. And chickens, we do free-range chicken eggs. We have beehives. We've been up as many as 23 at a time. But we sell the bees, the beehives, the honey, the wax, a lot of different things. and then some guard llamas to guard our sheep, and so far, no losses. We'd love to do hogs, but really don't have the space for them, so we buy in hogs and sell those. We butcher them and sell those through our store. This is just a quick slide, and I'll be happy to share this with John. This is something I think people need to do, is to take a look at what your production is. I look at the minimum we need to do, what the average might be. I'm thinking that's kind of going to be our sweet spot. And then the maximum is kind of where we're running right now. And then the revenue based on what you feel you can charge for those animals, given the quality of the product you're producing. So you can see at the minimum revenue of about 55,000, at the maximum revenue of somewhere around 92,000. Of course, that's mostly gross revenue. There are some costs that are not included in that, but that is kind of where you start and you work from that. Our sales strategy is to produce high quality artisan beef. If you're trying to produce low cost beef, there's no way you can compete. There are too many places that produce it in vast volumes. You've got to be able to prove a differential quality in the beef that you provide. Flavor, marbling, it's got to be a lot better than what you get from the grocery store. We sell 75% of our product by shares, so quarters, halves, and wholes, and 25% we sell directly from our farm store, which is staffed by myself mostly, my wife at times if I'm out of pocket. Stores open 7 days a week and most holidays. Our biggest challenge is really meeting demand. So there's a tremendous amount of demand for this type of product in our region. We can't meet that demand. We basically open up for reservations 6 months in advance, and we sell out anywhere from 25 hours to 7 days. Once we are sold out, we refer those customers that contact us for product to our close neighboring farms that produce similar high quality beef. There's plenty of volume to go around, and it's best for us to work together and support each other in times that we can't meet the demand of the patient. I'm sorry, the customer. Improving perennial pastures I talked about for a minute. It's a little bit of a challenge when you do that, but because you take that out of cycle for about a year. But when you get it started, in my experience, it produces quite a bit more forage and high quality forage as compared to our traditional perennial pastures that we have. Most of the ones in this area and probably most of the listening area are infected with toxic endophytes in the fescue. So if you look at reseeding and then the quality that you get, definitely worth it. High protein, high quality perennial forages are excellent. This is a photo of some of our pasture that has orchard grass, max Q, and alfalfa in it. It also has some volunteer clover, which is very good. And this is a photo of this year's second grazing of our gamma grass pasture that we seeded in December of 2018. So the eastern gamma grass fills in some of that summer slump. That's really helpful in getting a high quality, high volume forage for your animals. We also spend a lot of time and effort producing high quality summer annuals. And you can see the cows there just waiting to get in to that forage. We put a lot of sorghum Sudan in there. We also do legumes, brassicas, and things like tillage radishes to improve our soil. And we've seen a tremendous improvement in the soil since we began planting these annuals in 2015. The only thing we take off of our land is finished beef. So we don't export any product off of our land. And you can see the production of these annuals. If you have a fortunate year and do a good job planting, it can really produce a tremendous amount of biomass. And those cows don't have any problem knocking that down and eating it. It also produces a great ground cover. Our finishers get first priority at everything. We let them jump into the best pastures, best paddocks, the cows and the calves, they get kind of cleanup duty. Or if we have plenty of quality forages, we let the cows and the calves get in there as well. But these are some of our finishers, and you can see they're loving up on what they're eating there. We also are working continually to extend our grazing period, and probably the biggest challenge we've had is the difficulty with droughts and rain not coming at the right time. But you can see the picture on the left. Those are stockers basically that are pigging out on the winter mix that got in time and grew well prior to the end of the year. We were even grazing some of that in January. And then you can see the picture on the right is April of this year. It took a little while to get that going. Usually we would be grazing this in March, but the cattle have a really excellent quality forage that they can jump into there. And it helps, of course, accommodate that additional volume of animals on our farm. Another opportunity that I'd like to encourage is to think about heat stress management. Where we are east of 95, it gets hot in the summertime and it gets super humid. We lost one calf a couple of years ago. I believe it was stress related. So you can see how I set up sprinklers for them to come over and cool off a little bit. But since that time, I've invested in a portable shade structure. That's the photo on the right, and that'll easily accommodate 30 to 40 animals. The research that was done on this says that you can see a 20% improvement in gains and reduce also the losses in your cattle. So what's next for us? What's next is to find out our sweet spot. What is the sweet spot for operation? I think we're about as big as we can get on our 100 acres of pasture, but I think we need to work on more efficiencies. Those ribeyes on the right are some of the ribeyes we got a year or so ago. This spring was probably some of the prettiest beef we've ever seen. And I think it was related to the fact that we had difficulty getting it butchered. And so they ended up getting much closer to that 30-month age rather than the minimum of 24, 26 months that we usually wait to get them processed. And as Tim Beam said, I'll be happy to ask questions when the time arises. Thank you.